Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Today we got a tire puncture on a BFG K02 on this 2021 Lexus GX460. So jack the vehicle up, take off the wheel, lug nuts, and there's a screw there. I'm going to go over some tips and tricks here, even though this is a standard tire plug job we're doing here. Take a screwdriver, go ahead and unscrew it, but I'll give some tips that have helped me over the years that you may or may not know about. There's the screw. It looks to be a drywall screw. So always, if it's a screw, it's easier, obviously easier to just take a screwdriver and unscrew it versus trying to pry it out. So once you get it out, grab your reamer. Here's tip number one, and put your reamer in a drill instead of using the hand tool that it comes with. And this will save you some energy trying to ream it out the standard way. So again, it's just one of those things that helps save your energy here and there for when you have to actually stick the tire plug in the puncture here. So this reams, as you can see, way easier and way quicker. But it's a definite energy saver. That's a spiral reamer I'm using there. Some are spiral, some are straight. And another tip is when you go to put your plug in, twist it around. But anyway, here's another tip. Mark it, because yeah, it's obvious stuff, but it's a pain in the butt to take a nail or a screw out, and then the tire falls on the ground, and the next thing you know, you can't find the puncture, even though it was a big giant leaking hole. 1 second it turns invisible, and you're wasting a bunch of time trying to find the hole. So take 2 seconds, mark it out with whatever you got, and it'll just make your life easier. Alright, back to the tire kit. And this is again a standard kit, and standard needle and standard tire plugs there. Here's a tip: don't fumble around with the plastic wrapper here. If they're all fused together, just don't even try to separate. Just grab the pliers and just grab onto the plug and just rip it loose. Again, these are just going to be marginal time and energy saving tips for a very routine tire plug job. Don't fumble with the wrapper, just rip it with pliers. Another tip: squeeze the end with your pliers here. Make it nice and flat as you can. Just get it wide and flat so it will fit into your threading needle much easier. Once you get it just a little bit through, you grab your pliers, yank it through again. There you go. And to make it easier going in, use some silicone paste. Most tire kits these days come with that silicone paste. They used to put rubber cement and stuff on it. Just use silicone paste. But even if you don't have that, anything that's a lubricant will help the plug going easier, especially on quality tires, which we'll see here in a minute when we go ahead and put this into the puncture hole. This is, of course, the hardest part, just because you got to push. Now, cheap tires are effortless to put in, but this is a name brand or quality tire, BFG K02. So any quality tire, doesn't have to be an all-terrain tire, is going to have tighter steel belts and basically a tighter structure in there. So it's going to be really hard. The air is completely out of this tire. There's no air pressure pushing back, but it's really hard to put in. That's just the quality of the tire. That's a good tire. Cheap tires, the plug will just go in right away with no effort. Give it a quick yank, and out she comes. And the cheap tires going easy. Expensive or quality tires take some work to get in. So make sure you let all the air drain out of a good tire. So just let the puncture drain completely, because you don't want to be fighting the air pressure pushing back as you're trying to put the new tire plug in. So let all the air out however way you can, either through the hole or just move the valve stem, whatever you got to take the air out of the tire. Alright, so air up the tire, and to make life easier, just air it up 10 pounds heavier than you normally do, and then it's easy to just remove air instead of trying to get the air right the first time. Just overfill it and then drain some air out later to get it to the PSI you want. Spray tested with soap. In soapy water, look for bubbles. Again, standard stuff. If you don't see any bubbles, you're ready to cut the plug flush. And one of my favorite tricks to cutting these plugs flush is to, as you'll see here in a second, is to go ahead and use a propane torch on a knife. So grab your knife and heat that knife up. Now this keeps you from having to fumble with sawing back and forth. If we didn't heat the knife up, you'd have to saw back and forth. The tire plug wants to move. It's, again, none of this is night and day. It just makes it so much easier to just heat your knife up, and then it's literally like a hot knife through butter. So you don't have to struggle cutting these and sawing back and forth, and then you still never get it perfectly flush, and you're always worried about did you move the plug, did you yank on the plug, did you disturb the plug, and this guy, look at that. It also has a slight cauterizing action in between the fibers of the plug, and kind of melts and fuses everything together. So it's also a big help if you get on an all-terrain tire, you got a plug down in the valley. Now I know that's on the block or the peak of the tread, but if you have to plug down in the valley, it's hard to cut flush. But with a hot knife, you can get down in there and cut that plug flush even deep in the valley of the tire instead of up here on the block. And if you don't want to use a knife, or you can't fit a knife down there, use a hot wire. So heat up a wire and do the same thing. The last tip is to just put your lug nuts on normal. Don't torque them down to 900 foot-pounds. You'd be surprised how lightly these things are torqued. And I just do it by hand. Once I get them cinched on with the impact, I just lightly put them on with the impact, and then breaker bar to, I don't know, whatever it is, 80, 85 foot-pounds, which can all be done by hand. Makes it way easier getting this stuff off. Last thing you want to do is be broken down off-road and have to mess around with getting the lug nuts off. Alright, if you found this video helpful, please remember to like and subscribe. Thank you, and have a great, great day.
My door, I've been feeling the boom. It's a little after 4. So the rest of what that core was really just for. Yo, break out the sword and let's go cruising in your Ford. Watch out, yeah, sweet snow is the deal. As she shouted, it's the funky lesson 1 to the grill. I should have known that something wasn't right in walking. The biggity boom was just ticking and clocking. A night boy in plaid is passed from his dad. Another straight in the fight, man, but he wasn't from the right clan. Stop all the nonsense, defense